Now, I don't know about you, but after thinking about it for a long old while, I can only deduce that the latest episode of Monday Night Raw was booked like this. Thank you for coming, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight on the show, we are going to bring back Angel Garza. Nia Jax is going to talk about her ass. We will do Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton for the 52nd time. And when it comes to the Elimination Chamber, the theme will just be former champions. Come on! So it's very random. Very, very random episode. Also, thank you very much for getting your suggestions in for this week's Retro Ups and Downs. And the four most upvoted shows were No Way Out 2001 again, Vengeance 2006, WrestleMania 20, and the first ever Raw and Nitro that went head to head back in 1995. I mean, you're all very creative. Go vote now. And before you do that too, my name is Simon Miller. Welcome to WhatCulture Wrestling. And that's right, it's time to take the finger of power and up those downs. Right, okay, so Drew McIntyre and Sheamus. WWE had a nice video package to kick things off this week on Raw, and they let you know that while they have been friends for a lot of time, they also enjoy fighting, but this time Sheamus has fought the wrong way, so now they hate each other. Got it. After that, my brother Adam Pearce was in the ring, and then from nowhere, he just welcomed Shane McMahon to come to the squared circle. And I was like, Adam, my brother, my friend, you better ask him about Raw Underground. But nobody uttered a word, like it was just a figment of our imagination. But this really made me laugh because by the end of the thing, you had realised that WWE had clearly looked at their ratings and gone, we need to do everything we can do to increase this number. So they just kept doing random stuff. And so because of that, I thought we should start a tally just for this one night only. And don't forget that, we won't do a tally. We will do a ship, and I will call it the Random Raw Ratings Rocket. There it goes. Mark it up to 1. And then mark it up to 2. Well, look at it fly. Because Shane got on the microphone, said, oh, thanks, Adam. Thanks very much for inviting me here. And they both told us that at the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view is going down in a couple of weeks, it is going to be an Elimination Chamber match for Drew McIntyre's title. And I just sat there with all these thoughts on my head, but the main one was just utter bewilderment. Where did this come from? I mean, what did any of those guys do, apart from the Irishmen who do have an agreement with Drew, to get in this thing? Just going, I'm a former champion, doesn't mean you're allowed to go in, and if that is true, where the hell's Jinder Mahal? And then Shane left, and I was dying inside because it was so funny. This is like a cameo appearance you get on TV sitcoms, like if George Clooney turned up in One Division and you hear all the woohoo, yeah, wow. And that is basically what we did. Styles then came out, he was all excited because he's going to become the WWE champion again. And look, I really love AJ Styles. We know this, we have established this, but come on now. This was really lazy storytelling. We just made an Elimination Chamber match because we needed an Elimination Chamber match. I mean, it really is the equivalent of saying, well, I used to have hair, so now I'm going to enter a quiff competition. I don't know about you, but I don't think I'm going to do very well. Shane and Drew then bumped into each other backstage because Drew was all pissed off because he just wanted to fight Sheamus, and that's now been taken away from him. Man was like, no, it wasn't. You still are going to face him. There's just going to be a lot of other people in the match. And look, I think that match will be great. But come on now, down. And to tease all this madness, it was Jeff Hardy versus AJ Styles, and it was more than fine. It didn't make Hardy look like an idiot though, because he injured his leg in the early going, so AJ Styles started to batter that as much as he could. But after Jeff had worked his way back into a positive position and given AJ the twist of fate, rather than cover him and likely get the 1, 2, 3, he tried to climb to the top rope, but he couldn't because like, ow, my leg, my knee, I'm in so much pain. And he went for the Swanton Bomb, and he absolutely missed. Styles then locked in the calf crusher. Hardy had to tap out. If I could be bothered, I'd go and work out what Jeff Hardy's losing streak is at the moment, because he has lost a hell of a lot of matches. Still though, what an absolute goof. We then learned that Angel Garza was back on WWE TV. See the sheer randomness of this episode, and he's going to be taking on Damien Priest. So I was like, Angel Garza, you are screwed. And in Damien Priest's corner is going to be Bad Bunny. Now, before everyone goes crazy, we need to remember a couple of things. One, while it may not be boosting TV ratings, the sheer amount of awareness and social media numbers he's doing is absolutely crazy, so better than not having him on the show. But two, all of these years, people have gone, I hate celebrities, they only turn up once a week and they don't do anything, they go away. Bad Bunny, who was the most streamed artist on Spotify in 2020, is turning up to television every single week. I respect it. Don't be Principal Skinner. It's the kids who are wrong. No, it's not. It's you. We then just had the oddest chat backstage between Matt Riddle and Keith Lee. And Matt Riddle had a black eye because of everything that Bobby Lashley had done to him last week. But it's okay because he had found his motivation by going home and watching the Air Bud movies, which I think is about a magic dog. Keith thought that he likely needed a new plan, but he doesn't care because he's now gunning for Bobby Lashley too. But before they get there, these two friends are gonna clash later tonight. Even during this, I was watching it going, you two, Bobby Lashley gonna kill you. Around this point too, WWE also all of a sudden blurted out, oh, by the way, Edge is gonna be on the show. And you want to know why? Because of the random Raw ratings rocket. There it goes, 3. Sheamus also confronted Adam Pearce backstage and he was absolutely pissed off because he too wanted a one-on-one match. And I can only figure now that we're either going to do that at Fastlane or we're going to do it at WrestleMania. I'm not sure how I feel about that, but I'll see. And the Irishman also said to Adam Pearce, did you not do this because you don't think I'm a draw? What a sentence that is. He then quickly realized that he actually doesn't care about all of this because he will murder everybody in the chamber, and that's basically what he said. He said, I'm gonna brutalize everyone, and then it will all be on your shoulders. So I consider that a death threat. And then we bring back in the random Raw ratings rocket because once again the commentators went, oh, but we forgot to tell you, tonight is gonna be Lana versus Nia Jax in a tables match. So there it goes again. Mark it up another point. Look, I do understand this, because of course Lana got thrown through a table around about 62,444 times, but why do we not promote anything beforehand? It's like, quite ironically, we pull it out of our ass. The New Day versus Slapjack and T-Bar from Retribution was next, and while this food kinda doesn't make any sense, again, it was okay, up. And it was nice to see Kofi Kingston back after his injury, and also Mustafa Ali was on commentary during this, and Mustafa Ali is just probably the most underrated and underused person in the entire company. And yeah, at the end, the New Day just hit the daybreak, and they got the 1, 2, 3, and Ali was upset because he thinks the New Day get everything, and Retribution get nothing. Kinda true. The bad guys then chased them away as Xavier Woods started shouting, where's Reckoning? Where's Reckoning? Because if you've been watching Raw Talk, for some reason Xavier now wants a match against Reckoning. And you know what? Why the hell not? The story does feel kind of aimless though, but look, it's completely inoffensive, and it's kinda good. But obviously it's also kind of bad. We then just had more stuff thrown into our face because once again they went, oh wait, we forgot to tell you, the Raw Rumble female winner Bianca Belair is also going to be on the show. There goes the Raw random ratings rocket. Mark it up to another point. Once again, why don't we talk about all this beforehand? Although something we had talked about beforehand was the confrontation between Lacey Evans and Charlotte. He's got to get it down. The real issue with all of this is that the story is ludicrous because Ric Flair got on the microphone here, and as always, he's very good, but what he said didn't make any sense because he was all like, I am sick and tired of people talking about my daughter Charlotte when they should be talking about me. And I was like, Rick, for the last 5 years, every time I've heard you in an interview, you're all like, my daughter is the best wrestler ever. That's not how Ric Flair talks. My daughter is the best wrestler ever, and you know what? I think she's better than me. And then within a week, he's like, oh, no, forget it, I rule. He said Lacey was learning from him, and that was it. They're not banging in hotel rooms. And soon she would be the Raw Women's Champion. Then, of course, Charlotte came out, and she was like, Lacey, if you want to get better at wrestling, why don't you go down to the Performance Center? And then she, too, just spouted a pile of lies. Because she said that she had never insinuated that she didn't want Ric Flair her father's help, even though multiple times on Raw during matches when he had been there trying to help her, she had wandered over and gone, Daddy, I don't want your help. But don't remember that, because it never happened, you made it up. Rick then tried to make them a team, but Charlotte was having none of that, but it did turn out that Lacey had come to some kind of arrangement with somebody that if she beat Charlotte in a match that was going to happen in about 3 seconds, she would become the #1 contender. I mean, why not? And then, of course, it all ended in a DQ. Lacey tried to use Rick as a shield at one point, and imagine we had gone through with that, and I am 99% sure that Charlotte challenged her dad to a scuffle later on in the match. And maybe that's what we're building to WrestleMania. Father versus daughter, Ric Flair versus Charlotte Flair, despite the fact that Rick is like 73 years old. Imagine Charlotte won too, the internet would melt down. I can't believe the Ric Flair, the greatest of all time, lost to Charlotte. I mean, it's probably gonna happen. It was a really bad disqualification too, because after looking at Rick, Charlotte just went, "Watch this, Dad," and she started to punch Lacey Evans, and the ref then decided, oh wait, I don't want punches in my wrestling match, so she pushed him away, and that meant she got disqualified. Oh my gosh, is that lame. It also means the DQ board is back and it's up to 11, and I regret starting this. Between this and the distraction board, I can't keep up with things, and I'm gonna be frank with you, it's ruining my life. That one dude in the comments was right though, I should have started a clean finish board. It would have been on like 0.8. An Edge promo followed those. He's very good at this. It's more just another tease about who he's going to take on at WrestleMania, because now he's all confused about Raw because he doesn't know who's going to come out the Elimination Chamber, the champion, because Drew's odds ain't looking so good. It means he shall continue to watch before he does decide, and I still think he's going to go after Roman Reigns. That match just makes the most sense. Also, I want Roman Reigns to crush and kill his dreams. That's what the Tribal Chief does. Of course, then The Miz came out and started going, "Oh, Mr. Money in the Bank, it doesn't mean who you're gonna face, because I'm gonna cash in on you." And Edge was great here, because he kind of said what we said last week. He's like, "Why, you stupid James Bond villain? Why are you telling me what you're going to do?" I mean, I hadn't forgotten, because I'm the master of the briefcase, but now I'm doubly aware, so you're going to fail. And Miz looked like an upset child here, but he was absolutely correct. It was a really good line where Edge said that he needed to be champion, whereas Miz wanted to be. And yeah, like I say, Edge just knows how to cut a promo, but I'm really bored of all this Money in the Bank stuff. All right, okay, look, Damien Priest versus Angel Garza was next, and for some reason, Angel Garza is now friends with The Miz and Morrison, just because The Miz and Morrison don't like Bad Bunny, who's now friends with Damien Priest. A little bit like Sesame Street. So they were all at ringside here because we have to have shenanigans at every single point of the show. But the major key with this is that Damien Priest won, and he's a call-up from NXT, and sometimes we know how that goes, so that very sole reason is getting an up. But the amount of distractions here though, I mean, The Miz was doing it, John Morrison was doing it, Bad Bunny was doing it. I think at one point I was doing it from my sofa. I was going, "Hey Miz, look over here." Like, what are you doing? This is pointless. And of course, that's how it ended too. There was no flow to this. Bad Bunny just grabbed the briefcase at one point to distract Miz and John Morrison. He threw it in the ring. So then Johnny Boy went in to get it. For some reason, the referee then decided, "You have to leave, John Morrison." And by the time Angel Garza turned around, he was hit by the Reckoning and he just lost. So bring it back down. There's a distraction board. It's now up to 25. Also, if you are trying to keep track, yes, we now have a finisher called the Reckoning on a roster where somebody else is called the Reckoning, and the Reckoning is also exactly the same move as Sister Abigail. When you take all of that nonsense and put it in one big pot, we also have to give this down. Drew McIntyre was doing another promo here, and look, we all know that Drew is great at this, but a lot of what he said, he already had said, and he was still very confused about why he wasn't able to just face Sheamus, even though that had all been explained to him on this very show. Anyways, he does have a lot of enemies now, but he is the WWE champion, so he will stay tall. I really hope that when we get to this time next year, Drew is still the champion. I mean it. That's how good he is. And then, man, I mean, what is God? From nowhere, it was just announced that at the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view, it will be Lacey Evans taking on Asuka for the Raw Women's title, because Lacey Evans won a match via disqualification. I don't have anything for you. I don't. If there was a button I could push that would just make me spontaneously combust, I would push it. In fact, you know what? Oh, thank goodness for that. But yeah, again, this stuff, I don't mean to be horrible, but there's no depth to it. There's no layering. We just do stuff because we need to do stuff. Look at me, I'm falling over. We had everything with Bianca Belair afterwards, and it was all right, but for some reason, we did it all backstage. Why was Edge allowed to come out here with, "On this day, I see clearly," but Bianca just has to talk in one of those fake rings they have backstage? I didn't think it was very fair. Asuka also showed up and said that she's not ready for her. She was like, "Oh, maybe those two are gonna fight." But she is going to whip Lacey Evans' ass. And look, if you want to do Bianca versus Asuka, that will rock. But this just felt so second fiddle. Keith Lee then defeated Riddle. I'm going to assume that Riddle has already found his ceiling within WWE. And maybe Keith Lee had done too. But this was an excellent match. MVP was on commentary to remind you all that not only is Bobby Lashley the US champion, but he is the greatest person ever, and WWE wanted to make it clear that even though they are fighting, Keith Lee and Matt Riddle are friends. So they fist bumped, they gave each other a hug, they played Scrabble. A couple of those things didn't happen. This was just some great back and forth action, guy, where you had Keith Lee being the big strong guy, and you had Riddle being the smart MMA guy. So he was using strikes and trying to take him down, but Keith Lee would grab him and throw him across the ring. This was just so easy to watch. Keith Lee kept going for the Spirit Bomb too, but Riddle kept coming up with all these cool transitions, which he did at one point, and then he just kneed Keith right in the face That was a really good near fall. Sadly though, none of this affected Lee at all because he is just too much of a powerhouse, and he kind of grabbed Riddle out of midair at one point and gave him the spirit bomb for the 1, 2, 3. But this was one of those rare occasions where you actually could have come out the other side with both guys feeling that they had, well, some momentum, but we didn't do that because then somewhere somebody went and out came Bobby Lashley to murder their asses. Because the most protected man in all of professional wrestling was here, and he just ruined them. He ruined Riddle and he ruined Keith Lee to the point he picked up some steel steps and ran them right into his head. He then posed like a general that had already won the war after the first battle, and this is now rubbing off on me. I love Keith Lee and I love Riddle, but I was like, nah, screw those guys. Bobby Lashley, he's the coolest dude on the planet. Nobody can stand up to him, and he's all big and he's all jacked. I hope that he retains his United States Championship and the pay-per-view, and then goes and fights Drew McIntyre, and he wins that championship, and then he takes on Sasha Banks, and he beats her, and he beats Asuka, and he beats everyone. At the end of 2021, I want Bobby Lashley to have all the belts, because who's as good as the Almighty? This is what WWE has done. I mean, who the hell's gonna beat him now? You'd have to get Zeus with a lightning bolt, not the wrestler. We then got a Randy Orton promo, and once again, he had to just say a pile of gibberish, and it's not his fault. He did the best that he could, but the first thing he said was, me and Drew, we have unfinished business. No, you don't. This feud has been going on since June. You have done everything. You beat him for the belt, he beat you for the belt. It's all said and done and under the floorboards. The person you have unfinished business with is The Fiend, because you set him on fire and potentially killed him, even though he can't be killed. I know a lot of people are going, well, where was Alexa Bliss on this show? It does sound like there's some horrible things going on with an online stalker. That stuff is far more important if those rumors are true. I just hope she sorts it out. Also, don't do this. It's creepy, it's weird, and frankly, it's disgusting. It was then time for that random tables match between Lana and Nia Jax. I mean, what the hell am I meant to say? Because I already know it. The thing that you want me to talk about is when Lana was on the apron, Nia Jax went for a leg drop, missed, and because she landed in her groinal ass region, she walked away and actually grabbed it and went, ow, my hole. Now you can do with that whatever you want, but I do have to say, this was one of those occasions where wrestling reminds you what wrestling is. You can do all the moves in the world, you can be a badass in the ring, you can have the greatest match ever, but sometimes you just have to fall on some nonsense to get everybody talking and to get everybody excited. I woke up this morning and I had 4 messages from people, my wrestling friends, and they were like, ha ha ha, Nia Jax said, ow, my hole. And it was trending. Which means a lot of people were talking about Nia Jax's hole, and that is not a sentence I should ever have to say. But I have to give it an up, because I know it brought lots of entertainment, but also when she was selling her hole, Lana just pushed her into a table and it broke. So yes, this was pointless too, so it's also getting it down. And that's also because as soon as this was done, Shayna Baszler just started beating up Naomi, and then poof, that became a match, and of course that ended with the most devastating moment of the sports entertainment, and also ended because of a distraction. Even though Shayna was winning, halfway through she went, a little bit bored right now, maybe I'll go beat up Lana, and by the time she stepped back through the ropes, Naomi just hit her with that devastating move. So of course that also counts as a distraction. Bring it down. Oh, flippin' Nora, that is 26. And if you are keeping count, which we are, we're not even in the middle of February. It also means this was 50-50 booking because we had the challengers win one match and the tag team champions win the other match. So we're just going round and round and round and round and round, and we never get anywhere. And then yes, it was announced that at the Elimination Chamber is going to be a 3-way for the US Championship between Bobby Lashley, Matt Riddle, and Keith Lee. So even though Matt Riddle lost, he still gets to fight for the championship. And if you can somehow make sense of that, please send me a postcard or a letter. Just send it to Bald Asshole, Bald Lane, Bald Land, and then with the postcode, write BALD. It will get to me. People know that I'm the only person with no hair in the entire world. Now, the good news is that the United States Championship is actually being defended, and this will be really good. But once again, it's just so lazy. At least our main event did feel exactly like that because we were getting Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre. But still, within 30 seconds, all of a sudden Sheamus' music had hit. He had come down, and Drew McIntyre was so shocked, he turned around and Randy Orton popped him in the face. So instantly, I was very, very worried. And there's no point in me talking about it either, because I don't want to do to you what WWE did to me. Because in around about 10 minutes, Sheamus just went, all right, fella, now's the time that I should attack. So he gave a brogue kick to Randy Orton, even though I think he was going after Drew. And then Drew gave him a Claymore kick before going, rah, because he was really happy. And for some bizarre reason, Drew McIntyre's music started playing, even though Randy Orton definitely won this match, and it would have been by disqualification. So pull it down, mark it up to whatever the hell the number is now. I don't even know. 12? I think it was 12. Yeah. And that brought us to the end of Raw with our WWE champion celebrating, but it left me with this idea that I don't think we have any plan for Mania, which is why we're kind of just picking random things and doing whatever the hell we want. Now, the 10 minutes before the DQ was very good, so I'm giving it an up, but also DQ, stupid finish, waste of time, down. I gotta stop doing this eventually, but this is the problem with Raw. You get some really good stuff, and you just want a clean finish or something, and you never get it, and it runs away like a mouse that has stolen the cheese. And I hate it when mice steal my cheese. Unless it's Jerry from Tom and Jerry. I love that guy. But I do have to say, given that we're only 1 week removed from the Raw Rumble, and it already feels just so all over the place and crazy, I don't know if Raw's good or not anymore, but I'm giving it a down. Now, don't forget to leave a comment below and let us know what you thought about last night's episode of Raw, and go to the community feed and vote for this week's Retro Ups and Downs. We have some very strange choices. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Then go to WhatCulture.com. You can read articles. You can follow WhatCulture on social media. Just search for it. And look, there's videos around my head. You can watch more of them. Please give them a click. My name is Simon WhatCulture. Thank you for watching me as always, and I legitimately need to go and lay down, because Raw, man, it is just thing after thing after thing after thing. It gets to you.